So we've made it into the Pyrenees and we're on our way to Gavigny, which is about as far as you can go in France.
We turn right in 700 metres.
We've just arrived here in Gavigny at the Cirque de Chaumont campsite, or campsite Bergerie. Really nice little place. At the head of the valley, the Cirque de Chaumont is a big circle of very, very high rocks, and on the other side of that is the Spanish border. There'll be more of that later, and I'm sure we'll get some video footage and everything else. So we're just settling in for the evening, getting crew set up, and more news later. We got a nice surprise behind our pitch. They run some horse trekking up the valley, and at the end of the working day they release all the horses to pasture to walk along the river, and they happen to go along just behind our campsite. Very nice. Oh, donkeys too, for donkey lovers. We've started our hike up the falls and we're about a couple of kilometres in. Got the easy part done, and you can just see the falls in the distance there, and that's where we're headed. Well, we're at the head of the falls. It was pretty hard work getting up here. Heidi Hiker, Lynn's alter ego, is at her happiest when we're above 1,000 metres. So we headed north from Gavigny to get the views back down to the village, and you can see it in the distance there. Certainly not disappointing. Probably a much better hike than going up to the falls itself, which are just lots and lots of people on a sunny day. Here she is, a picture of contentment. The route said, follow the river back down the valley. Looks more like a gorge to me. A lot more climbing up and down than I anticipated. Just a smile. So we've moved a little bit further west into another part of the French Pyrenees. Very, very picturesque campsite with wonderful views of the mountains all around. And here we hope to do a little bit of biking and hiking. So 5 kilometres north of the campsite is Lac de Stang. We did try and cycle out the head of the lake, but it rapidly turned into a mountain pass. So then we just enjoyed the downhill glide back to the campsite. Day 2 in Estang, and we thought we'd take a walk along the GR10 Trans-Pyrenean route for a few kilometres, and a couple of kilometres in we saw a sign for the Pic du Pan and decided to give it a bash. Fantastic height, almost made the summit, but as you can see there's a pretty craggy rocky outcrop to get right to the top. So we stopped here. On our way to the border, and you can see Prue's hastily gaffer taped wing mirror after some plonker in a motorhome had swiped the original off.
Blockage on the way on the pass to La Rao.
Lynn picked a really nice route for the border crossing, the La Rao Pass. Great views from the top. I got a great picture of the French sign. The Spanish one's a bit distant. Morning all. Birthday breakfast in just outside of Pamplona. Heading off later this morning, and we're going to walk the bull run, so I'm steeling myself for that, but I'm assured at this time of year there are no bulls in it. Another sunny day in Spain. So here we are at the start of the Pamplona bull run. We're going to try and recreate this, but in the interest of animal welfare, no bulls will be involved and no animals will hurt in the making of this movie.
And we're walking.
And we're walking. Off we go. Well, we've just done the tour of the Toros here in Pamplona, and I've cut out quite a lot of video that I could have taken because they show lots of videos of the actual spectacle of the bullfight itself. It was quite fun filming where the bulls run in for the bull run, but in all honesty, I found a lot of the stuff that they show here a little disturbing. I mean, it's obviously culturally very significant to them. There's 20,000 people attend the bullfights in this stadium, but boy, when you see the film of it, it's not something I can get my head around at all. Anyway, we'll move on to nicer things now, like a good Spanish lunch in a decent restaurant. So after a quick Google search, we headed off to find Rodero, a Michelin star restaurant that looked like it was going to be open to enjoy a nice birthday lunch. Or 2 very delicious hours later, we're walking the walls to work off the fantastic 6-course tasting menu that we managed to work our way through. And now we're heading for a lovely coffee shop, which I think was frequented by Hemingway during his Pamplona residency period. This is Cafe Iruna, reputedly Hemingway's watering hole. Pamplona is undeniably a very beautiful city, somewhat defined by its relationship with bullfighting, which of course is very difficult for very many of us, but it's a lovely place to visit for a day or so, and we're now off to San Sebastian on the coast.